Hello everyone! Do you like city building games like Banished? Do you like post-apocalyptic games? Do you like the thought that one simple mistake could see your entire population wiped out by starvation? Then you're going to really enjoy Endzone: A World Apart, the game we'll be playing today. So the devs are working really hard to get this game ready for release on March the 18th. Some of the things they've done recently include adding new wildlife, the ability to send hunters to catch and raise livestock, improving the technology trees and settler behaviours, a new expedition expansion allowing you to send settlers into the wasteland to gather collectibles and all important food sources, and this month it's all about getting the game ready for full release. They've paid a lot of attention to the community and they've heaped praise on the community's input in getting the game release ready. I'm really excited to play and probably fail tremendously. We're going to give the tutorials a miss. I did play through a couple of them just to get a feel for it, but I'm from the school of learn by failing when it comes to these games, so we'll just jump in. One great thing the game has is the scenarios, which give you specific starting conditions and goals to achieve. It's a really nice alternative to the pick up and play survival scenarios, as it gives you this end goal that you can work towards. Anyway, let's jump in. We're going to randomise the seed so it doesn't look like I've pre-prepared this to give myself an advantage. We'll also randomise the name. Rustfield, I think that'll do. As soon as we load in, we'll pause the game and take stock of our surroundings. If you've played Banished, this will be a familiar sight with a different look. All our settlers gathered around a ruined bus filled with our starting supplies. We're just going to pause and take a look. So we've got some houses around here. That'll be where we set up our scrap collectors. They'll take these apart and clear out the land for building. We're a bit closed in by these two mountains and this monstrosity here. It looks like our best source of water is this lake here. So we'll build our jetty and cistern here. These are important to get our water gathering off to a quick start. We'll drop these down, link them up by road. This actually lines up quite nicely with our village centre. Actually, we can do this a little better. We'll fill the road in first. It'll be incomplete until we remove that scrap, but it makes the general layout a lot less confusing. Just having a bit of an issue fitting it in. There we go. Next up, we'll place a fishing hut somewhere nearby, but not overlapping as it'll reduce its overall efficiency. Looks like this side is the best place to put it. There. Link it up with the road and we have our first steps complete. Well, almost complete. We'll extend this road down and start planning out where we'll put our industry. Put a big road this way. So our crops can fit in this gap here and our houses there. We want to keep our houses as far away as possible from industry because the settlers don't enjoy being next to those buildings. But we also need to keep in mind the further away they are, the longer the journey to work is. We'll assign some water carriers, builders and fishermen, and then we'll unpause. Lastly, let's set a task to gather all resources so we can clear some space and get a nice starting pool of resources coming in. Next up, let's get some fields in place. We're going to make some 10 by 10 fields here. They're apparently the most effective ones from what I've read. once that's in place, we'll put an irrigation building in. This is just a template, we're not actually going to build this, but it's going to help us work out where we can put the rest of our fields, so they're all in an area of effect when we finally do put the irrigation plant. Next up, we'll cancel the irrigation plant and remove it. I made that uneven. Oh yeah, I think no, it's fine. It's okay. Right, we'll extend the road along here, back around the farms and up to the main street. And place a temporary road here so we know where our irrigation is going to be placed when we get round to it. Next up, we need some living space. We're going to put 8 cabins here, but we'll pause the building of 6 of them to avoid a population boom. Oh, I messed that up. Right, sorted. Dirt road these guys up and pause all construction apart from 2. Back to resources. Our scrapyard's going to be built out by these houses so they can start taking them down and clear the way for more industry. And lastly, we need to put a forester's lodge and a gatherer's hut over here. Link everything up with a road. We'll just pause everything. For now, we'll actually pause those 2 cabins so we can get our cistern, jetty and fishing hut built first. Whilst this is running, I'll just explain some of the overlays to you. Terrestrial radiation is the level of ground radiation. Any building taking place here will have to have radiation cleared before being built. Terrestrial radiation in lakes contaminates water and can prove fatal to settlers, so it's important we rectify this soon by using wells or decontaminating water. We've also got radiation in the area where the gatherers and foresters are going to be working. Soil moisture is really useful. That tells us how wet the ground is. It changes actively and sometimes very quickly. You can see rain clouds passing over and leaving the ground wet before they dry up again. Currently, crops are getting a good coverage, but it won't last, and that's why irrigation is going to be an important thing to do long term. Attractiveness. I mentioned this before. You can't see anything yet as we've not built anything, but industrial buildings will decrease the attractiveness of our living spaces and make settlers unhappy. They're already living in an irradiated wasteland and we don't particularly want a mass outbreak of depression on top of it. So we'll just pick some seeds for our... Black what? Black salsify? Okay, we'll grow that and potatoes as well. Before we carry on, we're going to assign 2 farmers, a scrap collector and a forester, and we'll leave 1 settler doing all the grunt work. Our first buildings are up and we'll start these 2 cabins. And we'll get the Forester's Lodge and the Scrapyard up and running. So the Scrappers, as I said, will eventually demolish these 2 buildings, and that's going to give us a bit more building space for our settlement. Once they've finished, we can either demolish the building and move it somewhere else, or simply change the work area. This gather all resources task is almost done, so we'll need to be ready to remove that or switch to a different area. For now, we can let things build gradually and watch our resources come in. We've run out of scrap, which is a little bit worrying, so we'll set a scrap gathering task and drop all but one of our buildings. There's currently some homeless settlers, but I'm not too bothered about that right now, because once the cabins are constructed, they'll move in. The reason we're not building those cabins right away is to avoid a population boom and an inevitable food and water shortage. I mean, they've got nothing else to do. It's post-apocalyptic. What do you think is going to happen? Our scrapyard's taking its time because of this scrap shortage, so we'll pause the Forester's Lodge just to focus resources going to the scrapyard. Once it's built, we can resume everything else, but our scrap issues will sort themselves out once that's built. It's just a case of waiting now to get it built up. We're getting a slow food and water storage up, which is good. We're in Season 4, so it does bode well for the incoming drought, which usually hits around Season 8. Once the scrapyard's finally up and running, we'll immediately relocate the work area here so they can clear the scrap and let us complete the path to the jetty. There we are. Done. Next up, Forester's Hut. We'll also demolish the scrap and gather all resources tasks, because we've got this starting setup ready now, so that's good. So we'll take stock now. We've got basic resources coming in nicely from our fields and fishing hut, scrap collectors and foresters. We're getting a logistical base with dirt roads and our cabins are ready for construction. So next up, we're going to place the most important early game building, recyclers. We're going to place 3 and pause the construction of 2 of them. We get 1 up and running now, producing cloth. Cloth's important because here we've got radiation protection. If this starts running out, your settlers are going to have a difficult time surviving the effects of long-term radiation exposure. We'll also need to focus on getting tools at some point, but for now, getting the production of protective equipment up and running is vital. So we'll just pause the game while we plan this out. Two more cabins queued for construction there, and we'll also move a few people into jobs to continue stockpiling resources for the oncoming drought. So that's the cabins getting built. We'll check the recycler, it still needs a little bit more scrap. I'm just going to put a scrap collection task here as well so we can collect it quicker and finish the roads off. Everything's building a little bit slowly because we've got a few too many tasks on the go at once, but we'll persevere. That's the recycler done, so we just need to assign a refiner, and once we've got some cloth stored up, we can use that to make charcoal activated gas masks. That's going to require a charcoal kiln, which we'll build right next to the scrap collector. So the kiln takes wood from the lodge, turns it into charcoal, and that'll be picked up by the tailor shop. We'll also drop the workshop here as well and pause the construction of both of them. The drought's closing in on us, but we've got a decent food and water storage built up, which should carry us through. What we're going to do is we're going to build a well to increase our water production and provide us with water that isn't radiated. And we'll fill these jobs in, set another 2 cabins away for production. Things might start getting a little dicey here, so we're going to set our orchards away, just a pear orchard, and we'll add another farmer. Drop down to 1 builder. When the drought hits, there won't be any water to carry, so we'll reassign the water carriers to a different job. What we're going to do is we'll start winding this down now, because we've made a decent start, and we just need to get through this drought. I'm not quite sure why this orchard isn't up and running. Oh. Hang on, I need to pause production. But right, yeah, okay, that's it. Sorted. We'll get that other orchard on the go soon. So the scrap's been cleared from here, so we can remove the task and fill the road to the jetty. Nice. Here we go. Dry season hitting. Just watch the lake beds dry up and everything turns to dust. We'll just reassign our water carriers, one as a charcoal burner, and then we'll build the gatherer's cabin. It's a weird time to build the gatherer's cabin because most of the things in its area will die during the drought, but it'll recover quickly and will be ready for a food boom once the land recovers. Just keep an eye on our water and food. We are low on radiation protection, so it's priority now to get the tailor shop up and running. We've got a decent supply of charcoal, but we are low on wood. So we'll have the foresters just focus on reforesting for now. Probably a bad idea in a drought, and we'll set a task to gather wood from here to increase our supply. Coming out of the dry season. Our food and water supplies are holding fairly steady. We've actually gained a bit of water, I think, because of the well, which continues to work during a drought. We'll get 2 water carriers for now and leave everyone else to carry on as they were. And I think I'll leave it there. I really like this game. It's a lot of fun. It can be stressful at times depending on how you play it. I mean, we've really rushed this initial setup, so I'm surprised we've made it out of that first drought in a fairly okay position. We've got a few issues starting to crop up, but our important resources are there and we can consolidate in the next episode, so I do hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you did like this video, do follow the playlist which I'll be making at some point. Give me a like and a subscribe, it all helps. I'll see you guys next time.